Hi guys, we are here with my little munchkins today. Say hi.
Hi.
Okay, so today I'm going to be doing a little bit of gluten-free cooking, sharing one of my recipes, my gluten-free pancakes. Yes, we're making pancakes in the afternoon because my kids love helping me make pancakes. I've been eating gluten-free for about, 9 years, 2007, but it took me a whole year to gradually eliminate gluten out of my diet. I kind of did it one category of gluten at a time because it was overwhelming to do it all at once. And because I had noticed that for myself, I was getting migraines and mood issues and rashes and headaches and things like that every time I ate gluten. So I decided to see if it would help. And when I did finally eliminate the gluten, I started feeling a huge difference. So I'm going to share that with you. And then we have little Miss Aurora over here. She's scarfing down these gluten-free pancakes like water. She loves them and she can't wait until every time she sees them cooking, she just asks for more of them. And then we have Lorena, who's my assistant today. She is helping me make these gluten-free pancakes. So, are you ready? Okay, so she got a little bit excited about doing this and she started putting ingredients in a little early. And we even had a little owie because she wasn't listening and accidentally touched the griddle. So if that happens to you, what saved the day for her was my lovely little aloe vera and my Young Living lavender oil helped with the little burn that she got. So, okay, so here's our pancakes. We've got our bowl here. Lorena already put in my oat flour. She dumped in the oat flour, which was about a half a cup of oat flour. And she dumped in our flaxseed, which was about 3 tablespoons of flaxseed. And I like to put protein powder in a lot of things I make because I like to make sure I get lots of protein in my diet. It's great for keeping energy up, especially since I am very active. I exercise a lot. I have little peoples that keep me very busy and work and all of that good stuff. So I found adding protein to quite a few different things I make, it helps. And also it helps with the kids' nutrition because then they're getting protein even though they don't realize it and they love it. And she wants more. Say more, please. She's saying please. She's using her little signs. So, okay, so our ingredients here. So Lorena's mixing in our protein powder, which I do love the Plexus protein powder. I've been using that and I've really been liking it. Usually I put vanilla protein powder in, but you can use whatever protein powder you like. I've actually used chocolate protein powder in pancakes and surprisingly it tastes amazing, even though you might not expect that. You can put chocolate chips in your pancakes. You can add, she's sad that she ran out of pancakes. We got to get some more pancakes going. So we've got our protein powder. You can add, you can church up your pancakes however you like. Fruit, chocolate chips, whatever you like to put in them. I'm doing some pretty fibrous pancakes, so that's great for your digestive system, balancing blood sugar, helping with cholesterol, all of those things. So we've got in here flaxseed. I did put 2 eggs in there. And I put about a 3/4 a cup of milk. Now you don't have to use regular dairy milk. You can use almond milk, coconut milk, there's rice milk, there's so many different milks out there. A lot of times I do like to use the blend that is almond and coconut together, but you can also use there's a local dairy milk that I found that this was very interesting. There's a local dairy milk that doesn't have any of the additives. It hasn't been processed at all. And my little person over here who has problems with dairy, was able to drink that milk without any problems. So I found that very interesting because a lot of the milk that you find, just regular, typical milk at the grocery store, has been processed a little bit. A lot of times there's been some artificial vitamins added to it and other things like that. Sometimes they put an additive in it to make it still look white after the processing that they've done. So I do buy, as far as I know of, Albertsons and Sprouts carries this local dairy milk in a glass jug that doesn't have all of that processing. It is still pasteurized though, because I do prefer the pasteurized. But okay, so we have milk, eggs, oat flour, protein, and flaxseed. We're of course I'm gonna add a tablespoon of baking soda and a tablespoon of baking powder. I found with gluten-free cooking, it really helps to put a little bit of both to get the leavening that I like to have. It doesn't make them super puffy pancakes, but it does help make them fluffy enough. All right. Then we're gonna add, this is an all-purpose gluten-free flour I'm adding. This is about 1 cup, okay? So altogether, the dry ingredients add up to about 2.5 cups of dry ingredients and about 1.5 cups of wet ingredients, just so you kind of get an idea of the ratio when you're baking and cooking these kinds of things. All right, and then we've got, I do like to put rolled oats into my baking, so I'm putting about probably about 2/3 a cup of oats. I'm sorry, my measurements are not always super precise. Okay, and then this is our chia seeds. I like to use the chia seeds because they have lots of great protein and vitamins and fiber. They help with digestion and metabolism. There's so many different things you can look it up. Chia seeds are pretty amazing for health and nutrition. Okay, and here's my, you can see the chia seeds. I found them at Costco, but you can find them at a lot of different stores, nutrition stores. And Lorraine is very anxious to put, I do put a little bit of brown sugar in my pancakes. I'm not going to put the whole thing. Now, my brown sugar was a little bit clumpy. A lot of people, that happens, especially where it's hot, like where we live. And I don't know what oh, here's my little. So what you can do to break up the brown sugar is use one of these little mortar pedestal bowls and just crush up that brown sugar to get all the clumps out. So that's what we did to get the clumps out. So we're putting our brown sugar in here. Okay, I did about 1/2 cup. You can do less, you can do more, depending on how much sweetness you like. I like to do the brown sugar versus the white sugar because it's a little bit less processed, and it takes a little bit more for your body to digest it, which means your blood sugar isn't going to spike suddenly when you're using brown sugar. Still, you don't want to overdo it. If you use like 2 cups of brown sugar, yeah, you're still going to get a blood sugar spike. But if you're using just a little bit, along with these other good proteins and fibers, you don't have to worry about that. Okay, so now Lorraine is mixing our pancakes here. Lorena.
I need some help.
Now you gotta kind of look at your texture here. I'm noticing that it is a little bit dry, so I'm gonna add a little bit more milk to it to balance that out. Now if you don't like any kinds of milk, which I kind of talked about some of the different milks you can use water if you want. That's up to you, but I like the milk because it kind of gives a little bit of a fluffiness. This is the local dairy milk I was talking about that is pasteurized, but my girls have been able to drink it without having issues, even though they have issues with other dairy products. So I'm putting just a little bit more to help get the consistency that we want. With pancakes, you want to get a really smooth consistency, not quite soup, but in between soup and applesauce texture, which I know sounds kind of funny, but that's the texture that you want to have so that it can pour smoothly onto your pan or griddle or whatever you're using. And I did also add a little bit of coconut oil into my pancakes. So we just do a couple tablespoons of coconut oil. And I like to add lots of flavor to everything that I cook, so I'm actually going to add cinnamon, and I will add a drop of an essential oil, the Vitality one, which is Young Living has a Vitality ones that you can actually take internally. Not all oils can be taken internally. So I'll add 1 drop of a cinnamon bark or a nutmeg or something like that to my baking a lot of times. Just one drop. You don't need a ton, but it adds great flavor in addition to the nutritional benefits. And actually, cinnamon and cinnamon bark. And Lorena wants to add our cinnamon. Just a little. So the cinnamon, there's been a lot of research on cinnamon and cinnamon bark that found it actually balances your blood sugar. So that's a great thing to add into things when you're cooking is cinnamon. And somebody is tired and hungry. And give her some blueberries to keep her busy for a minute. So this is my first live video having both of the girls kind of with me doing it. So this is going to be a very interesting video. That's enough cinnamon. Okay, so now we're mixing it together. And then we can pour onto our griddle. Hey. Now I put the batter, I like to put the batter into like a pouring type of bowl. This one's kind of messy, sorry, I've been using it. But you can use your little mixing bowls with the pouring spout on them, or a like Pyrex one as well. All right, I'm going to set this down for a second so I can pour my... I am using a griddle today, so I did prime the griddle with a little bit of coconut oil, and then we go ahead and pour our pancake onto there.
Mom, move that.
Okay, so you pour it on. Now, you know, you probably have cooked pancakes before, but I always let the pancakes sit for just a little bit longer when you're using gluten-free ingredients. Sometimes I found when you're using gluten-free ingredients, it takes a little bit longer for all of the constituents to kind of blend together and get heated enough to stick together without falling apart when you're trying to flip your pancake. So with gluten-free, I'm letting it go just a little bit longer. But what you're watching for are the little bubbles popping up to the surface of the pancake, and the bubbles actually popping and not just bubbles there. So right now we're seeing a couple of bubbles popping. I don't know if you can see that really well. Okay. But that's not enough. We want to have like almost the whole surface bubbling and popping pretty quickly for it to be ready. And Lorena's still mixing her pancakes over here. Are you mixing them really good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice circles. Ooh, careful. You want to hold your bowl, okay? So make sure it doesn't fall off. All right. So we've got my pancake going over there. Also with the protein, I talked about adding protein powder to the pancakes a little bit ago. And Little Miss Muffet's hungry and tired, so that makes this very interesting. Okay. So with the protein powder, you want to make sure you're reading your ingredients on your protein powder, whatever that is that you're using. You want to make sure there's not a lot of additives, and you want to make sure you're using a protein powder that hasn't been highly processed. I've noticed that the ones that have been processed a lot are not very good for cooking with. I put protein powder in muffins, I'll put protein powder in pancakes, I'll put protein powder in tons of stuff, tons of baking stuff that I make, sometimes even a cake, or depending on what it is. And I found it a great way to get protein into my kids' diets, and they love it, and they don't really notice that there's protein powder in there. We even mix protein powder into our natural peanut butter with just like a hand mixer, and it keeps the natural peanut butter from separating into the oil and the peanut part of it. Okay, So I've got quite a few bubbles going on the top of my pancake here that are popping. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip my pancake. Now with my griddle, I am using a metal spatula because this is a really old griddle. But if you have a new one that's nice and non-stick, you could use a plastic one because you don't want to scratch your griddle. But because mine is an older one, I am using the metal. And I have found with gluten-free that you do want to, excuse me there, you do want to kind of keep an eye on what spatula you're using, because with gluten-free ingredients, sometimes they do break apart easier, so you might not want to use a thick spatula, you want to make sure it's pretty thin and has that nice edge on it, so when you're going under the edge of your pancake, you're not crumbling it. And Aurora is tired and hungry, and she wants this pancake. Aurora has eaten 4 of these protein gluten-free pancakes, and she wants more. So, and I'm giving her some blueberries to try to keep her occupied until this pancake is done. Okay, so I talked about my ingredients, the different kinds of gluten-free flour, using oats, using the chia seeds and the flaxseed to help with nutrition and balancing blood sugar, blood pressure. And also when your blood sugars are balanced, you notice your moods are also balanced. So that's another reason why I like to put protein powder in different things I make. Of course, smoothies, but different baking items as well. Balanced blood sugar is the key to a lot of things. All right, so my pancake is done. It's not the most beautiful, perfectly circular one, but we have our pancake here. All right. Now Aurora is really wants this. So, okay, Aurora, make sure you blow on it. It's gonna be hot. Hot. Can you say hot? Hot. Okay, so that's basically it for my pancakes. I will post the recipe in the comments, and then you guys can see my little stack of gluten-free pancakes here. I don't know if you can see it really well. And I do like to eat, I either use my New York maple syrup, thank you to my grandparents who bring me the amazing natural maple syrup from New York State, or a lot of times I will make my own little berry syrup to put on the gluten-free pancakes, which I like the berry syrup because, of course, making it myself makes a big difference because it doesn't have all the tons of sugar that a lot of other ones do. But all I do with my berry syrup is I throw some organic berries into a little saucepan. Sometimes I add a little bit of coconut oil because I like the flavor of coconut oil, and a tiny bit of brown sugar or maple syrup, but just like a couple tablespoons. That way you're not having all that tons of sugar, and the berries are going to give you all those antioxidants and great vitamins and B vitamins and nutrition that we all need. So enjoy making some pancakes and have an awesome Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. I'm not always home on Tuesdays. A lot of times I am working, but today I get to enjoy my little munchkins, including Lorena, who's enjoying licking the little whisk here. Say bye.
Bye.
Have a good day.